Deputy Speaker, I cannot support these oppressive, authoritarian and dictatorial regulations. They're neither necessary nor desirable. They will have an adverse effect upon lives, livelihoods and the mental health of our constituents. The Secretary of State considers that the requirements imposed by the regulations are proportionate to what they seek to achieve, which is a public health response to the threat. But where is the evidence? Why is there no regulatory impact assessment? Why are we being asked to support a policy for which there is no evidence? These regulations are part of a sort of scaremongering propaganda campaign on the part of the government, which is really designed to try and stop social or restrict social interaction between social animals who happen to be living in the United Kingdom. And that, Mr. Deputy Speaker, I think is potentially the most damaging aspect of these regulations before us today. They're designed to suppress freedom of the individual and suppress social contact, and they're doing that through unreasonable fear-mongering.
Concern me, as we all now, I think, recognise that we're not dealing any longer with a pandemic. We're dealing with an endemic virus which is going to be with us for many, many years, probably forever in some form. We will have further variants that emerge. They might emerge every couple of months, they might emerge every year. We tend to have a new flu strain on an annual basis. Some of them are much worse than others. But surely we need to get back to an assumption that people will make decisions for themselves and have control over their own lives. We can't move, as we appear to have done, to an environment in which government simply assumes that it can instruct us, and it can do so whenever there is the first small evidence from anywhere in the world that there could be a new strain which behaves in a different way, that we'll have new and potentially swingeing public health measures put in place. But now, again, we see the government's immediate assumption that what it should reach for is new controls, new compulsion, new rules that will be inflicted on the British people. And I think we need to move away from that, move back to a world where we trust people, where we engage with the public, where we recognise that government is there to serve the people, not the other way around.
I would say the issue here today is that we are taking away the public's right to choose what they do based on flimsy and uncertain evidence of this. The government's approach seems to be to say, better safe than sorry. You can't be too careful. The trouble is you can be too careful. You really can be too careful. There is a problem which I would call tunnel vision, which my friend Professor Paul Dolan from the LSE calls situational blindness. We end up looking only at the disease. We've already heard brilliantly set out by my honourable friend for Winchester the harm that will be done to children. I can't begin to understand what the harm will be to children psychologically of being in masks all the time, what that will be. And you can't go back and repeat the experience of a nativity play missed, and so on and so on. It's not really about face coverings. To me, it's not really about this issue of the coming pandemic through the self-isolation. It's about how we react and the kind of nation and civilization that we are creating in the context of this new disease. I mean, really, what is the relationship between the state and the individual? I believe that there is no plausible path set out before us which leads to a genuine public health emergency, and yet the government is choosing to react in the way that it has. So I think, as a result, the government, I'm afraid, once again, is choosing that downward path towards, frankly, hell. The hell of minute management of our lives by edict, with nothing we can do about it, and not even a say in advance in Parliament. And incredibly, a clear majority of this House is going along with it.
We're allowing ourselves, sadly, to go back into a rabbit hole again. And I'm concerned that we'll never get out. But we have a new variant, and we introduce new measures. And then we await a new vaccine formulation, and then we wait another few months to get that into people's arms. And then we might be able to go back to a normality. And then we'll find another new variant, and we'll do it all over again. This has to stop. We have to live with this ever-changing virus. Enough is enough. It's done.